Hello, everyone. It's 2021. We're here with Matt Routledge, the director of Tribal Get Out Alive.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Describe yourself in 3 fictional characters.
3 fictional characters. Okay, I've got an idea for these. First one will probably be Dirty Harry, just because he's pretty much very no nonsense. Second one will probably be Peter Griffin from Family Guy, because he's kind of puts his foot in it a lot of the time and says maybe the wrong thing. I'm maybe a bit guilty of that. And third one, maybe something cool like Han Solo, would be nice. So, yeah, but 3 completely contrasting fictional characters there.
How did you get into filmmaking?
I never knew really what I really wanted to do until I was like in my early to mid-teens. So I always loved films. I always loved watching films, particularly martial arts films from a very young age of about 12, 13 years old. So I always wanted to do something film related. So that's basically how I started. I started going on a media studies course. And then from that, obviously I did my degree in media production, which was to do with screenwriting, directing, camera work. That's basically how I started. Always been a huge film enthusiast.
How were you introduced to the world of martial arts?
World of martial arts, I was doing jiu-jitsu when I was like 9, 10 years old. So I was brought into that by my mum and dad. They thought, you got to learn some self-defense. I do like jiu-jitsu now, but at the time I didn't enjoy it because, when you're a young little boy, it's quite hard to stay focused. I was more into my computer games and things like that. So it was a bit hard for me. And then obviously a few years later, I ended up watching Enter the Dragon, and then that was it. As soon as you see Bruce Lee, you just transforms your life. You think, that's it now. I want to get back into martial arts, and that's what I did.
So you work as a stunt coordinator and a stunt performer, am I correct?
I did do, yes. Yeah, I worked in that profession for a number of years, early 2000s, right up until around 2007, 2008 time. And then from that period, I started working more as a cameraman, action director. So I was branching out in those areas.
What did you enjoy most about working in stunts?
Stunts was good because, you have a lot to offer a production when you do stunts, because there's obviously you're hired to do things that maybe certain other people on the crew can't do. Sometimes they're really enjoyable to do if you're not doing a tricky one. Fortunately for me, I didn't do any of the fire stunts or any of the fall downstairs. For me, it was purely fight scene reactions. So I was really practicing all the time to make those better. So yeah, I was, I really feel like I was doing a good job when it comes to that. Whenever I'm called upon to do that type of thing, I know I can, hold my own.
What are the major lessons you've learned working in stunts and being a stunt coordinator?
Lessons as in experiences, yeah. Obviously safety is so important. You've got to understand, you've got to listen to the stunt coordinator, you've got to obviously respect him, because obviously sometimes there's certain films you'd be on and then some people don't get respected in certain ways, others are falling out. So you've obviously got to, be willing to work with the team you're working with. But also, you're trying to make this great end product. So it's a team game. Even if you're doing stunts, you're collaborating with the stunt coordinator, the fight choreographer, whoever's doing your wire, the wire master. So all of that team, you just got to make sure you work as one to make sure you get the best possible performance out of everybody.
I was reading about stunts in the 80s, and that was a crazy time for stunts.
They were. Yeah, I mean, you just take some of the female performers in the 80s and in the Hong Kong industry. Obviously you had Cynthia Rothrock, who was fantastic, and you had Michelle Yeoh, and you even just picked that film the two of them together were in. I think it was called Police Assassins 2 here. In Hong Kong it's called In the Line of Duty. The stunts they were doing in that film is just incredible. People getting smashed through glass windows. I remember there's that stunt where Michelle Yeoh flips backwards to go through a pane of glass window and grabs this guy's ankles, pulls them and wrenches them off a balcony. And then they don't land sometimes on the solid floor. They have to land through like a vase and then hit the floor. It was just, they really, really were pushing the boat in terms of stunts and obviously dangerous movie martial arts scenes, particularly in the 1980s.
What is your process of coordinating a scene for a film, whether it's directing or action choreography?
Well, if I'm directing, I will do a shot list the night before, and I usually try to do it the night before, because if you're doing, let's take for example Tribal, I was doing a feature film. When you're doing a feature film, sometimes you don't get, let's say, the time you'd like to focus on every scene as much as you would in a short film. So on a feature film, you're best doing it the night before or a couple of days before, so at least you know what you're going into fresh on the following morning. So I would do the shots that I needed to do the following day the night before, and I'd do like an above floor plan of obviously the whole scene, put my circles in where I want the cameras to go, and then do a written shot list. I would draw some storyboards, but if you've talked to any of the cast and crew particularly on Tribal, they will tell you that I'm not the greatest artist in the world. In fact, I just draw strict stick figures. So, it's enough to give the DOP a guideline of what I'm looking for. But yeah, I would usually do it the day before production or a couple of days before, just so it's fresh in my head. Because every day you're cycling these shots in your head. And if you have too many shots in your head from other days, you could just get lost. So you're best focusing on each day at a time.
What do you think makes a great martial arts film or a martial arts film that will stand the test of time?
Well, when I was younger, it was always about the fight scenes. So it would be whatever would be the best fight scenes, the best choreography. So obviously you need great choreography. So you need a great choreographer. You need a good action director who knows the angles. And then you need a great performer who can do everything those two people tell them to do. So it's a combination. It's a collaborative effort between all of that to get obviously the best fight scenes. But these days, as I'm getting older, I prefer to see a story. I like to see a good story, even if it's a short film. It's nice to see a bit of a story in there. Whereas if it's just fighting for fighting's sake, then I think we've seen all that before. So it's nice to throw something fresh in there, come up with a fresh creative idea that can obviously appeal to the modern audiences.
So now on to Tribal Get Out Alive. How did you get involved with Tribal Get Out Alive?
Well, I've known Zara Fithian for a very long time now, worked together with her on a film called Underground, where I was the fight choreographer. A long time ago now, maybe 15 years ago. And since that time, we've always planned to work together. We were hoping to work together on a project called SIM Card about 10 years ago, but unfortunately there was a lot of issues at the time. I was meant to go to the Cannes Film Festival, the ash cloud hit. It just wasn't the right time. So things didn't quite work out for that. But then fortunately, Zara and her husband, Vic Mark, got in touch and offered me Tribal, because obviously I've worked with them before. We know how each other work. I like to think I know how to get the best out of Zara on screen as a female martial artist and an actress. So I think that the two of us working together was a very positive thing. Obviously I got introduced to the other producers on the project and was lucky enough to get offered to do the film. So yeah, very, very pleased I did.
What were some of your influences for Tribal Get Out Alive?
In terms of martial arts films, I would say anything by Sammo or Yuen Woo-ping, Sammo Hung or Yuen Woo-ping. They were the two that really had the biggest influence on me. Obviously, in terms of martial artists, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee were very big for me when I was growing up. But as a director, obviously action director, myself, they're the two that I was looking up to in terms of what I'd try to get anywhere near that level would be great. So yeah, they were the two that were my biggest influences, I would say.
As a director, how did you collaborate with the stunt coordinator Nick Khan and Wing Chun choreographer Samuel Kwok for Tribal Get Out Alive?
Okay, well, first of all, Samuel Kwok, yeah, obviously hugely experienced, um, Wing Chun master for very respected for many, many years. He's a good friend of Zara's, so Zara brought him on to the project because we needed someone who could choreograph the wooden dummy scene and make sure Zara would repeat the same moves for the same moves for each take. So every time we moved the camera around, she would be doing the same procedure of moves. So he was brought on for that, and he made sure the Wing Chun was really authentic. Nick Khan was great because he was doing more of the weapons stuff. So whenever you see the machetes, whenever you see the knives, anything like that, that's his bag. So he obviously, when I chatted to him, I would tell him usually what I wanted to do with the fight, how I'd want to end it, and he would put suggestions across, or maybe we should end it this way with a double blade attack, or in the middle bit it'd be good if we slash left slash right, try this one. So obviously you'd do your previs beforehand, and we were doing that at Zara's PBA Academy in Nottingham. So we were down there choreographing a lot of the fights down there and recording them on video to see how they would look and how they would work.
What were some of your favorite memories while working on the film?
A lot of them were quite stressful because it wasn't an easy shoot sometimes. But in terms of great memories, I love doing the explosion scene. So obviously there's one scene in the film, won't give too many spoilers, but there's a big explosion, and it was great fun to do that. It was one of my first times working with quite big explosive pyrotechnics, so that was really enjoyable. And obviously for me, I just love filming the martial arts scenes because that's my thing. So every day I knew I had to go in and film a martial arts scene. I was particularly excited about those days.
I was wondering about the logistics of the explosion. I wasn't sure if it was green screen or how.
No, we did it for real. No green screen. One thing no one's ever going to see, hopefully, in any film I do, is too much green screen stuff, because I'm not a big fan of it at all. I know it's getting much more advanced these days, but I try to avoid CGI. I try to avoid any kind of green screening and stuff unless it's absolutely necessary. So even when you see the blade slashes in the film, the CGI has been kept to a very much a minimum.
How was the location scouting done for the film? What was filming in the tunnels like? Were they actually filmed in tunnels?
Yeah, we were lucky. We were very lucky. A lot of the locations we got in Liverpool, it was myself, obviously Thomas Dodd, the producer, and Natalie Burns, who were mainly looking for the locations, trying to find the locations. And between us all, we found various different ones. The Friends of the Williamson Tunnels provided the tunnels, which was in Liverpool, and they were very kind, letting us use, obviously, their underground tunneling system. It looks so authentic already. We only had to bring a few props in, change a few things, add a few nasty horror skulls or something like that, just dotted around to make it look a bit more horror-esque. So that was great. And we used another tunnel called the Dingle Tunnels, which is the far end of Liverpool that originally connected to the Wirral on the other side, the Birkenhead side. So yeah, we were very fortunate. It did take a while trying to get the right locations because of a lot of the locations were very expensive. And with this being not a big budget film, it was quite hard to get the bigger budget locations.
Were there any challenges filming in the underground tunnel, like health and safety wise?
Yeah, usually me banging my head. I'd be the first one to bang my head. So you've got to constantly watch your footing. You've got to constantly watch your head, particularly people who are tall. So in the end, I was wearing a helmet, high vis, a lot of the time when I was underground. But also you come out with a bit of a croaky throat, because obviously the amount of dust that's around there, and you're down there 12 hours a day, every day, you've got to be very careful. So I was having these sore throat lozenges most of the time to try and get me through the days.
What audience reactions are you hoping for with the film?
To be honest, just that people would enjoy it and see it as a bit of fun rather than, delving into it too critically and say, oh, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. You know what, it's so hard doing an independent film. You do not have the budget there that the big budget films do. So you don't have as much time, for one, with the performers. So you don't have as much time. And in that time, you've got to make sure you get all the shots you need to make the film look as much as you want it to look. So yeah, I would, that's the most important thing is just realizing whatever budget you've got to work to that, try and get the best you possibly can.
How has your experience been with the Fighting Spirit Film Festival?
Fantastic. Yeah, it's great. I remember when Sue was telling me, Sue Cole, obviously, who started the festival in the first place. I remember when she told me it was just a dream of hers to have the film festival, and how she wanted it to be, you know, have lots of short films, have martial arts films from all around the world. And when she mentioned it to me, I think back in 2016, I thought to myself, well, she's going to try and arrange a festival. I'll try and do a short film. So that's why I did a short film. I specifically made one called Fixer, which was for the very, very first Fighting Spirit Film Festival back in 2016. So I was very fortunate to have, obviously, get a great platform to show my film. It was shown at the cinema. That's not something I've experienced in the past, where I've had films shown, obviously, at the cinema before. And to have a short film, particularly shown at the cinema, is it's a great feeling. You feel very proud. And I'm just so pleased that the film festival has gone from strength to strength, from year to year, you know, enabling filmmakers from all over the world showcase their work and get their work out there. And also it's kind of like a hub, a networking hub for other filmmakers. So, you know, wherever you're from, you should come to the film festival. You should, you know, obviously talk about your film, network with the people there, and just enjoy the day. This is it's a fantastic opportunity.
And lastly, do you have any upcoming projects that we should look out for?
Hopefully, yes, but sadly it's all pandemic dependent at the moment. So I don't want to say too much, but there's a couple of projects. One I've been developing for quite a while that I'm hoping at some point in 2021 we might get the chance to at least start filming. I think that was meant to start filming last year, but obviously with what's been going on, it hasn't been possible. So fingers crossed, yes.
And now time for the speed round. So for the speed round, you pick one film for each category. What was the first film you've ever watched?
First film I ever watched? I would say E.T., I think. E.T. in the early 80s. It's a close shave between E.T. or Star Wars. It was one of those two.
What was your favourite movie in 2020?
2020, well, quite one maybe people don't expect. I actually enjoyed Soul, the Disney Pixar animation. I thought that was really refreshing, something totally different.
What is your favourite film by your favourite filmmaker?
Favourite film by favourite filmmaker? Well, it's tricky because I've got so many favourite filmmakers. I'll just pick one. I'll just say Sammo Hung, Eastern Condors, because I love that film. I watch that film all the time.
Which cinematic universe would you like to live in?
Oh, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because obviously you got some good ones in DC and you got some good ones in Marvel as well. So does Star Wars count? Does that cinematic universe? All right, I'm going to go for Star Wars because I definitely would love to use a real lightsaber if it was real. Yeah. So, or fly an X-Wing fighter.
And lastly, what film are you looking forward to in 2021?
If it's martial arts, I'd probably say Mortal Kombat, because I know that's been on the horizon for quite a while. But one I really want to see is Coming to America too, because obviously it's not martial arts, but it's one I loved when I was growing up. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Pleasure.
for the interview.
No problem.
Everyone, check out Tribal Get Out Alive. Where can they watch Tribal Get Out Alive?
Okay, so it's on all digital platforms at the moment. You can watch it from Apple, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube. Obviously, we're hoping it might be on Netflix soon, but the other one is Sky Store. It's on Sky Store. And if you're living in the United States, you can pick it up on Blu-ray and DVD. from Walmart. So if you have a look in your local Walmart, they should have it there, or at least be able to order it as well. So